This video is about how we perceive lifestyle. Our lifestyle can be what we make it, no matter where we happen to be and no matter where we end up going. Crocodiles out here.
Come in here.
Alright, let's head back.
Is that what's in there? Poop.
They come in here and they fornicate.
And they go poop.
Hey, welcome back to our channel, Retire Early Life at Home or Abroad. Speaking of which, I got a letter from a friend that was talking about their standard of living, and I really like this friend, so I don't want you to think that I'm picking on the friend. And I like what she writes and what she has to say, but there are certain things that when I hear them, it kind of gets my wheels turning in my mind. And then I thought to myself, you know what? Let's see what you think about this. It's like, because I've heard this so many times. It's like, we used to talk about this, like when we were in Ecuador, and you would hear people, a lot of people from high cost of living states say things like, well, you can't do this in California, or you know, and the message was in the letter, well, you know, I couldn't live this upper middle class lifestyle on less than $3,000 in North America or what have you. And I'm not saying there isn't any truth to that. Clearly, people go abroad for cost of living, and that is a fact. But not necessarily, but that's not what the video is about. This video is about how we perceive lifestyle. I'll give you an example. A lot of you know that I've been abroad. We've been abroad 10 years, majority of it in Ecuador. Now, a place like the US is commonly understood to be a place where you need a car. And we haven't had a car. You get to a place like Cuenca, Ecuador, where a car actually isn't needed. And yet you see a lot of wealthy foreigners, and especially Americans, that go there that are still in that car mentality, and they still have a car. Now, look, I'm not condemning having a car, and I'm not saying that, look, if you want a car, get a car, okay? But I'm just saying that it isn't really necessary. And so when somebody says, you know, upper middle class lifestyle, how does that really settle in when you have these differences and these changes in different places? Like, for example, when we came here to Mexico, you see the streets here, right? They're 3- and 4-laners. You can walk and stuff, you can take the bus, but really, the car is a necessity. It's a convenience that you really need. It's one of those conveniences that you need. I mean, there's conveniences that make things easier, but then there's conveniences that, yes, they make it easier because you need it. You need, you know, you need the car, okay? And so that brings up the idea that whether you can live a middle class or upper middle class lifestyle is subjective, and it has a lot to do with the locale. But even then, like after being abroad for 10 years, and it's not that you can't think of these things on your own without going abroad, it's just that it really gets reinforced and confirmed in your mind when you're in the middle of a culture and you see it on a daily basis where they live differently. And I was thinking that, you know, Americans, they're really tolerant about new products on the shelves for sale and new companies and new stock investments. But when it comes to somebody that lives differently than them, they're really not all that tolerant. And so I think that's what keeps a lot of people in this box, in this crab bucket, so to speak. You've heard of the crab trying to get out of the bucket, and as soon as he starts to get out, the other crabs pull him back in. That's, I think, what keeps a lot of people from acting out their ideas about living out of the box. But I think that that's changing, especially after 2020, and a lot of people wanting to get outside of this mass control idea that's going on. So the idea of a certain lifestyle that we may have coming from a Western nation that centers around the things that we have, and the idea that we've lived all our lives with this kind of thinking, and therefore we habitually think that a lifestyle has to do with what we have, meaning if we have a car or don't have a car. If we don't have a car, why we must not be living an upper middle class lifestyle. And yet, you know, I have friends that got a car in Ecuador, but because of one reason or another, they were never able to make it work for them. You know, they became subject to fraud and theft and this kind of thing. Something I'm not having a problem with, not to brag or anything, just to say that, you know, there's a little bit more to it, and it is a truism that you learn when you embark on the idea, the Thoreauvian, is it Thoreauvian, Henry David Thoreau idea, that you know, life is what you make it, and therefore it has nothing to do with what you have and don't have. And what we habitually think, because of out of necessity, we've always had a car, that for some reason, if we don't have a car, you see what I'm getting at here? Whether we have a car, don't have a car, you know, it's like you see a lot of people that are single, but they have like 3 bedrooms, 2-3 baths. This is all unnecessary. Now, if you have a family, you need that. But when you don't need it, again, you know, what is it that makes you feel? It's a feeling. You know, it's a feeling that is like blowing in the wind. When the wind blows, it blows away. It's just a feeling, and it has nothing to do with practicality and reality and the idea. There probably is a solution to your idea or our ideas of how we can live a good life regardless of where we are, and that a lot of times the grass does really appear to be greener in a lot of places, and in a lot of ways it is greener, but in a lot of ways it really isn't. You take, for example, you know, Argentina. They used to refer to it as more European than Europe. Didn't we just love the way that sounded? Now look at it. Of course, Argentina has been a basket case for a long time, and so has its cousin Chile, which was being touted and promoted. And it's like a lot of these touters and promoters, they sort of carved up the globe and picked their little areas so that they wouldn't overstep each other's toes, and touted it for this reason or that reason. And now where are they? Where are these touts? Everything has changed, and our lifestyle can be what we make it, no matter where we happen to be and no matter where we end up going. I hope you got something out of that. Thanks for coming to the channel. Have a wonderful day.